What's up, guys? I'm back with another Blu-ray slash DVD horror update. I only have three titles I'm going to talk about today, mainly because what I'm trying to get back to doing is um, doing updates with films that I've watched, as opposed to, just showing which I just picked up. Mainly so I can talk about them better, and that way, if there's something that I should want to discuss, I can do it once instead of having to make an extra video or whatever. Alright, so first up we have Crawl or Die. And this is a science fiction horror movie from last year. Basically, the main plot of this film is you have these soldiers that are trying to escort one of the last fertile women from Earth to a new colony on another planet. And I guess they get into some trouble, like a firefight, and so they flee to these tunnels underground. And once they're underground, they're being chased by some creature that's like picking them off one by one. I did enjoy this film, but it just has one big strike against it, and it's that the creature that chases them through the tunnels and stuff like that looks like the creature from Alien. And I don't know why they did that. They should have, gotten away from that. And if that was the best they could have did, they probably shouldn't have showed the creature at all. Just maybe like little glimpses here and there. It still would have worked, because what makes this film work isn't so much the creature, but it's the setting. Because they're in these cramped tunnels. And there's some parts where they're not even in tunnels anymore. They're actually crawling under structures. Like there's space between like the ground and the structure, and they're trying to crawl through there. And those scenes are really excruciating to watch, but it was really watchable. I really enjoyed this film, despite, in spite of the fact that the derivativeness of the creature. One thing though, I gotta say about this film, I was debating even talking about it. But the lead girl in the movie, her name is Tank. She's the lead soldier trying to escort what they end up calling this person the package. She, at one point, she takes off her pants and uses them for bandages for the girl when she gets, for another girl when she gets injured. So she spends most of the movie in her panties. And like the film, the way it gets shot, like it gets kind of cropped up really close. So you're like, there's some scenes where it's right on, like her crotch or her butt or whatever. It's, I don't know, like it wasn't too gratuitous, not like the Mila Jovovich in the Resident Evil movies, but at the same time it was like I don't know. I know some people will get a kick out of that, but I know some people probably won't. At the end of this film, it promises a sequel. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. All right, so Crawl or Die, first of the pickups. All right, let's go on to the next title here. We have See No Evil 2. I did enjoy this film. I wasn't sure if I was gonna, because I heard a lot of negative things about this film going in. The main reason why I wanted this film was it was directed by the Soska sisters. Most people will probably want this film because of that, and also because it stars Danielle Harris and Katharine Isabelle. The one thing, though, I know Aaron Pinn talked about this film as not being as gory, and only one of the kills is really effective. There was a couple of kills that were done off screen, unfortunately. It's really odd, this film, to me, the fact that they waited so long to make a sequel. Like, the original film came out in 2006, and here we are, well, it was 2014 when this one came out, so it was like eight years in between, which is really odd. Like, I mean, they could have made like 4 or 5 films in between that time. See No Evil films. This film takes place exactly after the events of the first film. The first film was interesting to me too, because it looks like the people at the WWE were picking interesting directors for their movies. Like the first film was directed by Gregory Dark, and he was known for doing a lot of Britney Spears videos and stuff. But before that, he used to make adult movies, and not just any adult movies, just like really weird adult films. So there were always something a little more extra going on. Sometimes they were horror themed and stuff like that. Before that became somewhat popular. If they do continue on with this series, I hope that the producers continue picking interesting directors. I don't know. There was one really cool death scene in the film, but aside from that, you don't really go into this movie looking for cool deaths. I guess you'll have to settle on just having Danielle Harris and Katharine Isabelle in the same movie. It's a little light on special features. It would have been nice to have like a commentary, but there is a nice little featurette on the Soska sisters, which is kind of cool, and it kind of goes through their history of liking horror movies and stuff like that. One thing they did drop, though, from the original film was in the first film, part of the reason why they called it See No Evil was that the killer was taking people's eyes. And I don't know why they dropped that aspect, because they show it in the flashbacks, since it's been so long in between movies. And it's kind of disappointing that they didn't hang on to that. Alright, so let's go on to the last pickup for this update. And that's the ABCs of Death Part 2. And I had mixed feelings about the first movie because of the structure. Because basically, when you have like 26 short stories, it's kind of hard to do anything of any substance. Basically, these films, well, the stories in the films play off like vignettes. And it's kind of too bad, because there were some stories in the first one, and then especially in the second one, that I wanted them to be expanded on a bit more than what they only had 5 minutes and stuff. So it's really unfortunate. I really enjoyed the first story, and there was a couple in the middle. There was a lot that I hated, and there was a couple towards the end that I really liked. The Soska sisters also directed an episode in this. They had T, which was for torture porn. It was a really interesting episode. I really enjoyed the first one. A is for amateur, and I really liked W is for wish, and Z. I can't remember what the Z stood for, but I really enjoyed that one as well. And most horror films will probably enjoy Z as well. The one thing about this release I will say is that there's 10 minutes of credits at the end, because they go through all the different production teams for each of the stories of the alphabet. But stay to the very end, because there's going to be there is like a little Easter egg at the end of the movie, which fans of a certain horror series are going to love. I won't even say which, because it'll kind of tip it off there. But and it pertains to one of the previous stories in the ABCs of Death. And this one also promises a sequel, which I think will be out in a couple years or so. I almost wish that what they would do was just center on a couple of alphabets. If they're gonna do like a series, maybe just settle on like 5 or 6 letters per movie. That way we can have like stories that last at least 10-15 minutes. Because there's some really cool ones in there that it just wasn't enough time. Like, I know they're all centering on death, but I'll tell you there's one I really did hate though, and that was P. And it's P's for Papa Scary. I really hated that one. Although it did feel like a mixture of like a old Abbott and Costello thing mixed in with David Lynch, which was kind of interesting. But I don't know. I'd recommend this like for a rent. But if there's enough good weirdness in here that people might want to keep it on. Maybe you might want to own it, and they can play it during parties or whatever and freak people out or whatever. Alright guys, this is my update. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.